Hi Yogis, Nin from Nin Yoga here. Today we have a chair yoga sequence. Now, chair yoga is increasingly becoming popular as many of us find ourselves more and more desk bound and wanting to do stretches throughout the day. Now, it's a great thing that our commutes may have reduced, but what we're finding as a result of that is that our bodies are moving less, and it's causing a number of issues such as joint inflammation or maybe sporting injuries because you haven't been moving as much and exercising. So I'm hoping today to show you a few little tips and tricks to stretch yourself throughout the day and relieve yourself maybe of tension whilst you're still sat at your desk. This practice is also good for people who maybe have come into their senior years and no longer want to see a downward facing dog in their practice. It's also, as I mentioned, great for people who may be nursing injuries or inflammation or joint and mobility issues. Today, what I'd like you to have as equipment, an option, is to have a ball so that when we come around to the end of the practice, we have something to work our feet with. That ball can be any size, or maybe it can be a roller, just something you can find to help smooth a rolling motion. Then one thing I would like you to have is a strap. Now, a strap can be either a resistance band like I've got here, or it could be a dressing gown robe, or it could be a scarf or a tea towel. Just make sure that this strap at least is as long as your arm. Okay, so the theme of the practice today will be stretching firstly our fingers, our wrists, our neck, our shoulders, and then we'll be working around the whole body as it's an all over body stretch for those of you, as I say, with various issues that come with maybe sitting all day, or you just need a little gentle practice to get you on your way. With that said, let's begin. So circle your shoulders around, pulling your shoulder blades together, keeping your spine straight. And then I'd like you to bring your left palm out and just stretch your wrist towards you. Feeling the nice pull there. Having your palm facing you. And then letting go and rotating it around so that your palm is facing away from you. And in the same vein, I'd just like you to pull back with your fingers and stretch out your wrists. Beautiful. And from here, keeping your hand like this, I'd like you to just slightly tug back, bringing your pinky finger towards you. And then do the same with your ring finger. Stretch out your fingers. It's important for those of you who've been at a keyboard all day. Come to your middle finger, and then come to your index finger, and then finally come to your thumb and bring it towards you. Excellent. Placing the palms back down on the knee. We'll take that to the other side. So bring up your right arm this time and have your palm. What we'd like to do is face it towards you at first, and wrap your left arm round and just stretch your wrist out. Stretching your hands towards you. Beautiful. And then just letting go and have the palm facing away from you. And then pull your fingers and your wrists, most importantly, give them a good stretch, bringing the fingers towards you. Now again, we'll just pull on the fingers, getting them stretched out to counter the keyboard warriors amongst you, and just pull back, pull forward rather, towards you with your pinky finger, then your ring finger, then your middle finger, then your index finger, and finally we'll finish with your thumb. Beautiful. And just releasing the arms down to the knees. And now we'll begin to stretch out the neck. So have your feet hip width apart. And then we'll just bring the ear towards the right shoulder. Stretching out those neck tendons and muscles that you might have been clenching all day. Roll the head around in front of you, over to the other side, bringing your left ear towards your left shoulder, and stretch out your neck that way. Coming back to center, looking up, and looking down. Then what I'd like you to do is to put your left hand onto your waist and clasp it with your right hand and look over your right shoulder. And this is another way of releasing the neck from tension. Coming back to center, putting your palms onto your thighs, and then taking it to the other side, so bringing your right hand to your left waist and clasping it with your left hand, and look over your left shoulder. Stretch out that neck muscle and come back to center and put your palms onto your thighs. Now from here, we'll just do a stretch, begin to move down the body slightly towards the ribs, bringing your left arm over your head and just stretching out through your obliques and your intercostal muscles. Stretching out if you've been cramping them all day, sat upright. Inhale, come back to center, and then take an inhale and come over with your right arm over your head to the left hand side. Finding that deep stretch within. Exhale, coming back to center. Now cross our arms so that both our palms touch our shoulders. And then I'd like you to look to your right in a supported twist pose. And hopefully you can pick up some of these tips for when you're next sat in your long meeting. Maybe turn your video off, or you can just make people come along with you, depending on the meeting. Come to the middle, and then look over your left shoulder. And come back to center. And we'll just sit down here, centering ourselves, bringing our soles of our feet to the floor, feet hip width apart, and we're going to take a move called cat-cow. So to do this, I'd like you to arch the spine and bring your chin towards your chest and look down. Inhale. Exhale, roll the shoulders back, arch the spine the other way, sticking your stomach out. This is really, really nice for the back. Inhale, tuck your head in, promoting good spine health and movement. Tuck, arch your spine. Exhale, arch your spine in the other direction, lifting your chin up. Exhale. And now we'll move on to the arms. So what I'd like you to do here is to bring your right hand to meet your left elbow, and then bring your left arm round and stretch in your right elbow, pulling with your left hand. This is called archer arms. So again, if you're sat down and you just really need a quick stretch, maybe best to turn your camera off and do some of these just to revitalize, rejuvenate yourself and come back more focused and more present in the meeting. And then we'll take it to the other side. So bringing your left hand up and bringing it over to your right shoulder, and then grabbing on to your left elbow with your right palm and just pull it in towards you. This is really good for the triceps and the shoulders. And then coming back to center. And now we're going to take a pose, another one on the arms, called eagle pose. So what I'd like you to do is bring your arms out parallel in front of you, but have them facing, your palms facing the ceiling. And then wrap your right arm under your left elbow, like so that your elbows are stacked on top of each other. And clasp the hands if you can. And lift up with the palms, maybe keep the fingers straight. And try to take your elbows away from you. Now this is a beautiful stretch right here for the shoulder blades, which obviously always hunched. And what I'd like you to do is just come down with your hands towards your knees and then come up again. And we're just going to take 3 of these. Maybe go quite quickly if you want to get the blood round. And come up to center, unravel the hands and bring them back down to your knees. And then on the other side, we'll take that. So what I'd like you to do is to bring your left elbow under your right, and if you can, bind the hands, lifting the elbows up and away from you and keeping the fingers straight. And this is eagle pose, bringing the shoulder blades apart and creating a good form of resistance. And again, what I'd like you to do is come down with your elbows towards your knees, and we'll take 3 of those. 1, 2, 3. Beautiful. Unravel the hands. And then bringing the palms to our knees. Inhale. We're going to take a sun salutation on a chair. So bring your palms up above you, palms facing each other, pinky fingers coming in. Stretch out through your spine, make sure you're satisfied with this stretch. Exhale, bring your chest down towards your thighs and bring your hands to the ground and let your head hang here. Come up with your palms to your knees, just halfway, leaning forward slightly. And then we're going to take 3 of those. So rounding out with your palms again above you. Bring the palms together. Then come forward, bringing your hands to the earth and lean forward with your head. Coming up with your hands to your knees halfway, stretch out diagonally. And then come upright, and we'll take 1 more. Sun salutation, palms together, stretch up, make sure that that's good for you, works for you. Then put your palms together and come down to the earth and stretch your spine here, let your head hang momentarily. Press up onto your thighs in a diagonal motion and then come into upright position, palms together, and we'll bring them to our heart. Now for here, we're going to take a pose we call chair pose. You might think that all poses in yoga, chair yoga even, are chair pose, but this one is mimicking one of the most popular movements that we do in yoga. What I'd like you to do is bring your palms up diagonally in front of you, maybe the pinky fingers towards each other, opening up the fingers, and then if you can, and if you have the mobility, just pressing in slightly to your feet and maybe lifting yourself slightly off the chair. Tuck your tailbone in, tuck your pelvis in, and just take a check with yourself here. And just stretch through the calves. Beautiful. Now come down into seated again, and we'll bring our hands back to our heart. And what I'd like you to do is then take a twist. So bringing the left elbow to your right knee and look over your right shoulder. Now this is particularly strong because you're not focusing on balancing. You can just stretch and get those lymph nodes working, detoxifying yourself from any stale energy that's gathered throughout the day. Inhale back to your chest and then take it to the other side, bringing your right elbow to your left knee and looking over your left shoulder. Feeling that spine health tingle with happiness because it's moving again. And take an inhale, bring your heart back to center. And then have your palms on your knees. Now we're going to work on the lower body a little bit. So what I'd like you to do is lifting up, bringing your left knee, maybe balancing your left foot on your chair, towards your chest. And then if you can, bring the resistance band around your feet, or your band or your scarf. And then from here, I'd like you to just let go and begin to straighten out the left leg. And this is a pose called heron pose, and it's a nice one for the calves and hamstrings. Now, if you have any injuries here whatsoever, please modify and bend your knees. There's no need to stretch out further than what's available to you. And then bending your left knee, maybe putting your heel onto your chair, bringing the left foot down to the chair. And we'll take that to the other side. So from here, bending your right knee, maybe bringing your right heel towards the chair, put the resistance band under the sole of your foot, and then if you can, just begin to straighten your right leg. Now I actually have a bit of a dodgy knee today, so I'm having a little micro bend in here. I'm not trying to straighten out and push myself too much. It's just making sure what feels good. Don't go too far. Your body is telling you where it needs to be today. Inhale, and then bend your right knee, bring your right heel towards the chair, and unleash the strap, bringing your right foot to the ground, and we'll sit back up straight. And now what I'd like you to do is keep your back parallel with the chair, but just bring your right knee out to the side, and then what I'd like you to do is adjust yourself as you can and bring your left leg in a straight position. And what we're going to try and do is do a warrior two with the chair. So for those of you who are familiar with yoga, a warrior two is a very famous pose. It's a very well used pose, should I say. And you need to have your right knee at a right angle, 90 degrees, stacked above your ankles. So just check in with yourself there and check that your left leg is straight. And then bring your palms parallel to the mat, parallel to the floor, and look out over your right shoulder. And maybe twist your right arm up to the sky and try and bring your shoulder blades back towards each other. Straightening up through the spine. Inhale, bringing your left palm down to your left thigh, or we'll take a reverse warrior, bringing your right arm up to the sky. And then bringing your right wrist down to your right thigh, and we'll take a slight extended side angle pose. So here, your left hand should almost form a bit of a, or attempt at least, to form a line from your pinky finger to your left foot. And look down towards your right foot. Inhale, coming back to center. Bring the legs together. Take a circle loop with your shoulders and just observe how that feels on one side compared to the other. And now we're going to take that to the other side. So here, just keeping your back as much as you can parallel with the chair, and bend your left knee at a 90-degree angle, and then try to straighten your right leg. Just check in here that you're happy, that you've got the support and balance you need. You might have to adjust it slightly. And then inhale, bringing your arms parallel to the floor, turning your left palm up and look over your left shoulder, bringing your shoulder blades together, warrior two. Inhale, bringing the right arm down to the right thigh and looking up to your left palm. Reverse warrior. Exhale, bringing your left forearm down to your left thigh and stretching out over with your right arm. Extended side angle pose. So just try again, keeping your arm as straight as you can, and everyone has to check in with themselves sometimes. Just stretch out and look down towards your left knee. Beautiful. Come back up, and then we'll come back to a seating pose. Just find yourself here. And then we're going to use our chair to help us balance in some poses. So the first pose we're going to do is a pose we call triangle pose. So stand with your feet hip width apart and pivot your left foot around facing the chair. We'll put our arms parallel to the floor and then just dip your left arm down to the chair and look up over your right shoulder towards your right palm. This is what we call triangle pose. Inhale, coming up back to our arms so they're parallel to the mat. And then we're going to take another pose that we call tree pose. So from here, bringing your right foot towards your left ankle, and you can keep it here, you can bring it up your calf, or you might be able to bring your right foot up higher onto your left thigh, and we'll just reach out and do a tree pose. Inhaling, exhaling, releasing the right foot. And then we're going to come around to the other side and do the same thing over there. So feet hip width apart, pivot your right foot around so it's facing the chair. Arms parallel, if you can squeeze them outwards. And then bringing your right arm down to the chair, lifting your left hand up to the sky and look towards your left palm. Brilliant. Coming back up to standing position, and we're now going to do tree pose on the other side. So again, option, have your left heel on your right ankle, your calf or your thigh, and we'll stay in tree pose, and then just lifting your left arm up to the sky, trying to keep your spine straight. And we'll just take a few breaths here. Try and take your knee out to the side as much as you can to open the hips, and then bringing your left leg down to the mat. This next pose we're going to do is called downward facing dog, but a chair version. So what I'd like you to do is, if you can make space, just bring your chair forward slightly in front of you, and then what we'll do is we'll grab onto the top of the chair with our palms, straighten our back so that our torso is parallel to the mat, and then just let our head hang here, and we'll call this downward facing dog. If you've got the ability, you might want to put your hands in the chair through onto the seat. As it begins to echo downward facing dog, your head begins to hang slightly, feeling that pull through your calves and bringing your shoulder blades towards each other, and just breathe here. Then coming up, back into a standing pose, just moving your chair back. And then we'll bring the soles of our feet together, and then let our knees come out to the side, and make sure your spine's straight. And we'll bring our palms to our chest, and this is called butterfly pose. Just breathing here, opening up the hips. And then we'll come into another pose. So straighten out. Maybe sit back on your chair so you've got support, and then straighten your legs out to the side as much as you can. Obviously, you can't completely straighten them, so have a micro bend in your knees. Inhale, we're bringing the palms up to the sky. And this is called temple pose. Inhaling, keeping the spine straight, crown coming up to the sky. And then lean over perhaps to one side, putting your right forearm onto your right thigh. Just getting down into the ribs. Exhaling, coming back up to center, and then take your left forearm down to your left thigh. And have your right arm going over your head. Beautiful. Come back up to center, and maybe bring your knees slightly towards each other, but don't close your legs entirely. Inhale up, and then just drop down with your hands towards the earth, just for a final stretch. And then come back up slowly and with control into a seated pose. Now here is where I'd like you to take that ball and put it firstly under your right foot, and just feel the ball under your feet like a little massage to yourself after a hard day's work. Now this is really nice, but just generally, if you've been inactive or active on your feet, it just feels good to have a little massage. My ball's got a little bell in it. And then just swap sides, maybe take the other foot. And then just release, bringing your feet to the mat, and just sit upright in your chair, unclenching your jaw, unclenching your brow. Just let everything fall away, including any to-do lists, any conversations you might have had at work, any anxieties you have, any stresses, pressures people have put on you. Please just let them go. Treat them like a cloud that's passing by. They're just thoughts, and they'll go away if you let them. And just always shepherd yourself back to this moment in this chair. This is your time for your healing and your body. Breathing in all the way down through your abdomen, down to your legs, down to your toes. And exhale all the negative energy from the day. And then just taking a final inhale, bring your hands above your head, bring your palms together, and we'll bow and we'll say namaste. Namaste. Thank you so much for tuning in to my chair yoga session. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave comments below. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you like what you saw here and you like the pace, please check out my other videos. They are full of all sorts of themed yoga, and I'd love to hear from you, and I hope to see you again very soon. Namaste.